I love strategy games of all kinds, but the semi-simulator genre is one I just couldn't quite get into. Full war simulators, like Graviteam, are something I can manage as long as I don't have to mess with artillery and mortars too much. But I've always craved something more modern, something in between. Eugen's Wargame and Warno series were always a bit too quick and gamey for me. So imagine my surprise when Regiments drops, and I find myself having an absolute blast, playing a very deep, semi-realistic strategy game that also manages to simplify many of the systems found in Wargame. The gameplay is a smooth ride, allowing you to focus on your tactics to win the day. Regiments is, in essence, single-player wargame with a slower pace, no deck building, and a ton of customization options for you to tailor the difficulty of every scenario and skirmish. There are multiple campaigns set in a Cold War turned hot what-if scenario, as well as a skirmish mode in case you want a more controlled experience. You're given a core set of units and then the option to call in certain regiments to reinforce your roster, with either units or specialized call-in abilities, like barrages or airstrikes. There are two factions: NATO, represented by 4 nations, the USA, West Germany, the UK, and Belgium, and the Warsaw Pact, representing the USSR, Poland, and East Germany. The rosters aren't very large, but they are varied, mostly historical, make intuitive sense, and, most importantly, every nation plays differently. NATO is more focused on defensive tactics and quality units, while the Warsaw Pact fields more units and plays more aggressively. The USSR has the most units, fields a lot of tanks at once, T-62 variants, T-80s, and cheap motorized infantry with many models. Meanwhile, East Germany takes the philosophy of the USSR, but has more middle-of-the-road tanks like T-55s and T-72s, focuses a bit more on ATGMs and rocket artillery, and has better infantry. And on the complete other end of the spectrum, West Germany has really accurate tanky and powerful Leopard 2s, versatile infantry, and anti-infantry vehicles at the cost of fielding a lower number of models per unit. Lastly, the gameplay keeps it simple but deep. A unit that stands still for a while will become entrenched, making it very hard to hit and mitigating a lot of damage and suppression. To counter this, artillery and call-ins are required to suppress, which will greatly debuff the unit's rate of fire and accuracy. This means you'll have to flank the unit and hit its side or back for extra damage. Mix in line of sight, weapon range, cover, and camouflage provided by forests and buildings, and you're set. You have anti-air units, but you don't have to manage them like you do in Wargame. And infantry considers both the soldiers and their ride as a single unit, so you don't have to manage your infantry and their AFV, only whether they are mounted or dismounted. I highly recommend Regiments for anyone wanting to graduate from Gates of Hell, Assault Squad, but feels overwhelmed by the Wargame series. It stands next to its most direct competitor as a slower, simplified system that still offers an amazing and thrilling experience where tactics shine. I rate Regiments a Milan 2 to the side of a T-55A out of 10,